Welcome back to Piney Grove, folks. I'm Brad.
I'm Deb.
And we are here today to work on our well because we have to get it ready for the contractor, the sheetrock contractor, to be able to mud the sheetrock in the house that we're building for my parents in the next couple of days. It's the day after Thanksgiving. It's 60-some degrees and a little bit windy, but we got to knock this out because it's the only time that we have to do it.
Stay tuned.
All right, so just throw out real quick what we got. We got 40 feet of 1-inch schedule 40 PVC. And I don't think we're going to put in 40 feet. We're only trying to get a hydrant about 20-30 feet away from the well. So the hydrant that we have is a Pro Plumber Frostproof Yard Hydrant. And we picked this up at Lowe's. It was the last one they had. And it was kind of a last minute thing. I was just going to do some PVC pipe coming out of the ground with a faucet. We actually bought all sorts of fittings and a brass faucet, but we figured this would be more durable. We want this thing to be, I guess, more durable so that when someone other than us is using it, it'll be less likelihood that it'll foul up. And we were just kind of worried if we just put a, I guess it's called a hose bib on there, that maybe there would be too much stress on the PVC pipe. So we got this hydrant, we got the pipe, we got a lot of glue. I got to go in the shed and get the pressure tank, and we'll get going here. All right, what I got to do here is I got to take this off because when we put this fitting on a couple of weeks ago, just to get the well electric hook backed up, because we had it unhooked while we were pouring the concrete pad, but this leaks. And this leaks because when they were pouring the concrete pad, they broke off this fitting that goes inside this galvanized. So we took a plug and we cleaned up the threads. I got to put some Teflon tape on the threads. Luckily we have this quick disconnect fitting here, so if this does leak in the future, we can fix it. But I'm gonna run these galvanized plug in here a little bit, clean out these threads a little bit more, and then I'm going to put Teflon tape on that. I'm just running this in just to clean out those threads. Ideally, I'd take a hacksaw and I would cut these threads that way so they'd have some space, and they would act like a tap and die. But I didn't do that. So I put 2 strands of Teflon tape on there, and that should seal it. If this doesn't seal it, I'm gonna have to get with the concrete installer who broke off this fitting, because they knocked out the old fitting with a screwdriver and really messed up the threads in there. And if I can get it to seal, it'll be fine. But if this doesn't seal it, then it's gonna have to be someone else that works on it. Trying to be careful not to over tighten the PVC fitting. That Teflon tape, it feels like it's going in farther though. I think it's gonna seal. Just don't want to over tighten it. You over tighten it, then I broke off the fitting, and I'll be in this worse position than I was before. All right, first thing we got to do is make a double T, and that'll go on top of here. And when I put these pipes in the concrete, I put them a little bit too close, but I still have enough room to double T, so I need 2 inches of PVC to create the double T, and we'll go from there. So if you ever have a can of PVC cement or the primer that you can't open, just get a set of adjustable water pump pliers, and they help, because sometimes that glue gets around the cap and you can't get it open, but these work great. Because it's pressurized, I got to prime it. The priming simply cleans that, makes it ready for the cement. I'm making a mess, that's why I put the board here so I wouldn't get that on my concrete. And I'm over priming this, but I just don't want to do this again. This literally is going to be for the lifetime of our home and our property, so I don't want any leakage. It's really hard to fix it. And that leaves me plenty of room for error. Like if I get it wrong later on in life and I want to make this lower or even higher, I got plenty of PVC to work with, and I can always put unions and make it higher. or lower. I'm going to glue up this T. I need this T to be perfectly square. So I'm going to run some glue inside the joint, some glue inside this joint, some glue here, all the way on this, all the way around it, and then push it together while it's on top of something square, and then hold it just for a second just to make sure that's square. And it's not pretty, but I don't think it'll leak. So that'll sit on top there. I'll bring my inlet in that way. I'm going to put a pipe out here and plug it. All right, I need to cut a piece of pipe for there. Well, actually, I can use a piece that I cut off here. Trying not to get this everywhere, all over my concrete. Sounds silly, but I don't want my concrete to look bad. I've already primed that, but I'll prime it again. And then glue, glue, glue. One of these cut-off pieces and put over here, just so it's someplace I can tap water off later. Maybe I want some water inside of the shed. So it's always something. I was sitting there looking at it, and I remembered I wanted to put shut-off valves for each line that goes out of my pump house. So shut-off valves will go here. They're just going to go in after, but it doesn't matter because I just cut them there and glue them in, and they're both the same height. So I should have done that before, but maybe it's even better now because I'll know where to cut the vertical pipes. Okay, and that just allows me some options later on, but that's good. Now I'll put my valves in here. Deb and I were talking, and I think we'll stagger them. Maybe we'll put one a little higher than the other, and that way the handles won't interfere with each other. So that should be able to turn that way, and that should be able to turn that way, and the two don't interfere with each other.
That's good.
We'll just mark that, so that when I glue them, I know where to turn them to make sure they're square. All right, hopefully we'll let it sit like that, get that glue drain down. Same thing with this one. All right, let that glue dry for a minute or two.
Bella's in timeout because she wouldn't get out of the way, so she's in timeout. She'd make the best out of it though. She's chewing on grass, and
we'd love for her to be with us, but she'll get purple primer all over her.
She's such a fool.
I want to stress and reiterate, we are not a how-to channel, we're a how we do channel. I do know how to glue PVC pipe. I do know you have to prime pressurized joints, but is this perfect? Am I a plumber? No, but I'm pretty confident that it won't leak, and I'm doing some best practice stuff here by making sure the glue runs away from the valve. But there, so we got the manifold set, and the next thing is figure out how to connect the tank to that.
So we didn't get any notice on having to come up with this design today, so Brad's kind of working on the fly. You're ciphering, aren't you?
So at some point this tank will likely need to be replaced in our lifetime. So rather than hard piping it in with glue and all that, we bought these fittings, which are very similar to or is the same as the fitting that's on the well, so that we can disconnect the tank from right here and then change the tank out. So what we're trying to figure out is, coming off this elbow, how much PVC I need to cut, and then we'll get this elbow the way we want it. Then we'll take this manifold piece here, we'll glue that in and all together and get it all squared up. And that will send water out of the tank up here, over, and then down to feed external lines. What this piece is, we're all glued up to this point. Now this should connect, I got to double check the measurement. This should connect the manifold down to the tank. And this is not glued to the tank yet, so we'll pull that off. And once we get this glued to here and here, we'll pull the tank towards us when we glue that. I think we're ready to glue up, which is always scary. Only one way you can glue an elbow, straight in, so you can't really mess that up. Kind of scared to glue it up. It's kind of permanent, but we've always got this fitting right here that we could take it back apart if need be. So I'm gonna need Deb's help. I need the camera girl's help for this.
Next step is...
So we've got everything from the inlet side of the pressure tank to the manifolds, to where it goes through the concrete. That's done, or done, we think. You never know until you put water pressure on it. But now we got to connect the well outlet. So we're going to cut this here and put in a joint where we can take this apart if we need to later. And then we'll put an elbow here. We'll put an elbow on this end, and we'll also put a joint on this end. And that way you can change the tank, or if you have to change this pressure switch, you'll unscrew that union, you'll be able to take the pressure switch out. And then you just kind of follow the water flow and then think logically about the tank will probably need to be replaced at some point in the future. I will have to shut off water going to, my house or to the shed, so I want a valve there. At some point that pressure switch is going to fail. So how do I take out that section of pipe? So I think I've thought through all of it. I'm no plumber, but I think I've thought through all of it, and I think I've got it where I think I could fix it if I needed to, a few years from now. Hopefully it's many years from now. Oh, tell them how she got out of timeout.
got out of timeout because she chewed her rope off and didn't know it, so she still stayed in timeout thinking she was tied up, even though she chewed off her rope. Would you like to talk about your creation?
My Frankenstein?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It makes sense to me. Water comes through there. I put I put removable joints on the well end. Come through here. I got a removable joint here. That way we can take the pump or we can take the well off of the pressure tank. And then if we come around the side here, water will come out of the pressure tank. We can take it apart here if we need to take the pressure tank off. Water will come up here. Water will go down here, and we'll cap that one off because that will go to our shed later. Water will come down here, and this is the one we'll put the spigot on over there. It makes sense to me. We obviously have to flush the lines and dig this out, but I don't know. Let's keep working. No matter where we put the spigot today for the sheetrockers and the people that are working on the house, it's not going to be its permanent location. So rather than digging a 30-foot trench, we bought plenty of PVC pipe. We're going to come off of this outlet pipe, union it to a short piece that we had left over, and put a T here. We're going to tee off and dig a trench over there and put the spigot over there, and then I'll just put a cap here And that way when we move that spigot, we'll cut this, put a cap on it, and then this will just be going where we really want it to go. We could always cut it off here for cleaner, but it'll give us more options. So that's what we're gonna do. Dig this trench and get this knocked out. It's not gonna be so bad. This part, anyway.
Famous last words. It's not gonna be so bad.
Okay, we dug the trench. It doesn't have to be perfect because this is likely temporary. This has a little weep hole here. So I'm gonna put that piece of PVC over the weep hole, and that way the water from inside this standpipe right here, because the valve is at the bottom. So when you move that handle, it actuates the valve at the bottom. When it's done delivering water, all the water dumps out the bottom through that weep hole. So we're gonna put some gravel down in the bottom of the hole. It doesn't need a lot. It's not gonna be that much water, right? Just 1 inch by 3 feet, however much volume of water that is, probably well less than a gallon. And that's only when you turn it off. So you turn it off, about a gallon of water is gonna go down in there, and we'll put down some rock and it'll just leach into the soil. All right, so we put a couple pails of big river rock in here that'll let water drain. And so that the dirt doesn't infiltrate that river rock and make it so water won't drain, we got this silk cloth. We'll put our spigot on top. Now remember, I got this collar and the water drains out of this little weep hole here. So I have this collar. That collar will sit right there on top of the elbow, and then we'll put a piece of silk cloth there, and water will always be able to drain. That'll never fill with dirt. So we'll put that there. We'll have an elbow, that'll go over top. We'll take some silk cloth, put over top of that. Fill it back, fill it with dirt. We're in business. All right, folks. We got the hydrant in, got the line, everything's all glued up. Just got to do a little bit more PVC work before we can turn the well on. But we got the drainage rock down there. We put the collar back on. And it's all set. I think we're just going to clamp this to this post just to give this more stability, so it's not relying on PVC to hold it up. All right, we didn't bring a level today. Just one of the couple things, a level and a square we could have used today. So we put this in by eyesight as far as plumb. I'm thinking it's going to be temporary, so it shouldn't matter too much. And I'm hoping I don't have to pre-drill these holes. This is a treated post. That'll really help when the people that are building the house are putting a hose on here and pulling on it. Mrs. Piney Grove hard at work. Bella in the way as usual. But the thing I want you to know is that Mrs. Piney Grove, aka Deb, is a fashion statement with her red tennis shoes and my Yamaha sweatshirt. Way to go, babe.
I got 2 sweatshirts on and a t-shirt.
She got 2 sweatshirts and a t-shirt, and she's shoveling and she's cold. And I've got on a little summer shirt. She gets cold easy. Okay, we got it all backfilled. We got the hydrant there with a hose on it. I got 2 temp lines here, just 10 feet of PVC pipe. Deb's gonna turn on the well, and then we're gonna see what happens. Turn it on, babe. There's some water flushing that pipe, water flushing that pipe. All right, Deb, you can turn off the valve to this pipe here. I think that's clean enough because we're just gonna cap it. So turn off the one that's closest to the tank. You see any leaks up there? All right, turn off that valve closest, yep, that one. All right, so when you turned off that one, of course, all the pressure came over here out of this one. That's good, clean. You see that crystal clear well water? All right, I think the pipe's flushed good enough. Turn off that other valve, the black one, yeah, and we'll watch the pressure come up in the tank. So the water's coming out of the well, going into the bottom of the tank, filling up the tank, and when it gets to a certain point, it's gonna compress this air and build up pressure. And when that pressure gets to, I don't know, 60 or so, that switch should go off and turn off the pump. So we'll see if that happens. Okay, the pressure's coming up in the tank. All right, but the pressure got up to 60 and the switch worked. So I think that's all good. Now the pressure's come down a little, but it might take a few cycles before it figures out what it's supposed to do. But I do not see any leaks. And that's good, because I'm no plumber. The pressure's coming down, so we'll make the pressure come down by turning on this valve. And we'll get water coming out of there. And then the pressure goes down. Now the switches should come on and tell the pump to start pumping. I think I already told the pump to come on and I missed it. So we'll turn off the valve. Pressure should come up. So the pump is pumping, the pressure is coming up. And around 60, the switch should tell the pump to stop pumping. I think it's working, Deb. I don't see any leaks. Switch should go off in it's almost 60. Click, the pump clicked off. 60. Now the pressure goes down a little, I guess. There's no leaks because we can see everything here. The pressure went down a little. I guess it won't hold 60. All right, we're going to finish gluing this up, put a cap on this line so we can take this off. We just didn't want it to get muddy here while we were working. So we'll run a little short piece here and put a cap on it. And we'll do the same there.
Finishing touches on the project right there. All the lines are buried. Nothing was leaking. We'd never know that there was a trench dug here earlier. We have our hydrant, as they call it, and we have good water pressure. Good day.
We're holding 50 pounds of pressure. All right, I think that's a wrap, folks. We got 4 hours invested in this little project here, but we had success and we got it all plumbed in and ready for the sheetrockers when they need water next week. So, you got anything to add, Deb?
Got nothing.
She was cold, doesn't she? She's out here with a couple of jackets on. Anyway, that's all we've got. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this content. If you did, please click like, give us a big thumbs up. That helps out our channel. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Otherwise, we'll catch you on the next one.
Take care.
Take care, y'all.